In a world much like our own, a single event changed history. On August 20th, 2020, Alexei Navalny avoided a poisoning attempt thanks to a vigilant supporter, setting off a chain reaction that reshaped Russia and the globe. Navalny, invigorated by his narrow escape, intensified his anti-corruption campaigns. His call for reform resonated with a disillusioned Russian populace yearning for change amid rising authoritarianism and economic challenges. As 2021 unfolded, Russia simmered with unrest. The pandemic had exposed systemic flaws, while sanctions tightened. Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation revealed explosive evidence implicating top officials, including Putin, in widespread corruption. Kremlin attempts to suppress these revelations only inflamed public anger. Protests erupted nationwide, uniting citizens from different walks of life. The chant, "Russia without Putin," echoed powerfully across the country. Emboldened by growing support, Navalny announced his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election. Skepticism loomed over the possibility of free elections under Putin, yet Navalny's supporters embraced it as a rallying call for change. Within the Kremlin, Putin faced an unprecedented crisis. Traditional tactics of repression faltered, and efforts to legally sideline Navalny backfired, highlighting the regime's desperation. Rifts emerged within the system sustaining Putin's power. Oligarchs began distancing themselves, some even aligning with Navalny's team, foreseeing a possible new order. The military and security services, once Putin's stalwarts, showed cracks. Young officers familiar with post-Soviet Russia questioned their role in subduing peaceful protesters. Notable defections sent ripples through the establishment. By 2023, the upcoming election promised to be historic. Domestic upheaval and international pressure forced the Kremlin to allow unprecedented election monitoring and ease restrictions on opposition candidates. Navalny's campaign was dynamic, traversing the vast nation with a message of hope and reform, promising to end corruption, diversify the economy, and improve relations with the West. Caught off guard, state media struggled to maintain a Navalny blackout. Russians turned to alternative news, compelling traditional channels to address the opposition leader, even if to discredit him. Putin appeared subdued, sparking rumors about his health and leadership. Speculations swirled about potential exit strategies or dramatic moves to reclaim control. March 17, 2024, Election Day, dawned with tension and excitement. Voter turnout soared, with long lines at polling stations. International observers noted a marked increase in transparency compared to past elections. As results trickled in, it became evident Navalny was outperforming expectations, leading in Moscow and major cities. Even rural areas, Putin's stronghold, showed surprising support for Navalny. Accusations of fraud flew, but the final count confirmed the impossible. Alexei Navalny won the presidency with 53% of the vote, marking a seismic shift in Russian politics. The post-election period brimmed with uncertainty. Fears loomed that Putin might reject the results, but the old system was visibly crumbling. Key figures realigned with Navalny's incoming administration. On May 7, 2024, in a historic ceremony, Putin ceded power to Navalny, shaking hands at the Kremlin, a defining image of the 21st century. Navalny's presidency began with swift action. He appointed a diverse cabinet and established an independent anti-corruption commission to probe official misconduct. The international community, initially stunned, responded with cautious optimism. Navalny sought to reset relations with the West and resolve conflicts diplomatically, especially with Ukraine. Domestically, Navalny faced the Herculean task of reforming decades of authoritarian governance, pushing for constitutional changes to balance power and judicial independence. Economic reform was critical. Navalny's team worked to diversify, investing in tech and renewables while dismantling state-driven crony capitalism. Resistance persisted. Hardliners in security services viewed reforms as betrayal. An attempted coup in October 2024 underscored the fragility of the new democracy. Navalny's legislative agenda met obstacles in the Duma, where old regime loyalists stymied reforms. He learned to build coalitions to navigate the political landscape. Oligarchs with ties to the former regime challenged Navalny's reforms. Capital flight became a concern, prompting controls that clashed with free market ideals. Internationally, Navalny shifted Russia's stance. He withdrew troops from occupied Ukraine and negotiated Crimea's status, meeting international approval but domestic backlash. Navalny sought a balanced global role, improving ties with Europe while maintaining relations with Asia. His diplomacy opened new economic and political opportunities. Climate change became a key focus. Navalny committed to ambitious emissions targets, seeing green technology as a path to economic diversification and growth. Domestically, transparency and free speech flourished. Media control loosened, fostering vibrant political discourse and societal engagement. Education reform emphasized critical thinking and civic engagement, nurturing a generation equipped to sustain democratic ideals. The economy faced a transformative phase. Initial disruptions gave way to growth in tech and renewables, reducing reliance on oil and gas. Navalny faced assassination attempts due to his anti-corruption stance. Personal and policy challenges shadowed his presidency, including pension reform protests and handling separatist movements. As 2030 approached, Navalny debated a second term. He ultimately ran again, the election marked by civility and issue-focused campaigns. Navalny won re-election, albeit with a smaller majority. His vision emphasized peace, democracy, and a diverse economy on the global stage. As his second term unfolded, Russia was transformed, though challenges remained from ingrained corruption and inequality. Internationally, Russia's shift altered global dynamics, with new alliances forming as the country moved from being a threat to a partner. Navalny's legacy hinges on the resilience of the institutions he built. The ultimate measure of success would unfold long after his presidency, testing whether his reforms would endure. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to explore this fascinating story with me. If you found this video interesting or thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might enjoy it too. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on any future videos where we dive even deeper into intriguing mysteries, untold histories, and the wonders of the unknown.